From getting exposed as a creep towards minors, to getting laughed off the internet for having the worst apology video.
Sorry.
My name's Ryan, and we're going to look at Colleen Ballinger's latest apology video and how it backfired horribly. Colleen is a YouTuber who began her career in 2008 and rose to fame through her off-key, red-lipped character Miranda Sings.
Hey guys, it's me, Miranda, the famous Miranda Sings. I have haters who are mean, rude, nasty, and all those kinds of things.
Her audience grew rapidly, eventually reaching 10.4 million subscribers at its peak, and much of her fanbase became dominated by younger viewers.
I love Miranda Sings. Miranda Sings is life.
She built her brand on being family-friendly, but over time the cracks showed, and it became clear she wasn't the creator people thought she was. In 2020, one of those fans, Adam McIntyre, uploaded a video outlining several interactions he experienced with Colleen.
So I helped give her the photos and the concept, and she said, when should I do that? Should I do that today or tomorrow before I post the video? And I said, what are you waiting for today? And she says, okay, cool.
Including Colleen using Adam's ideas for her show without credit or compensation, asking inappropriate questions in Colleen's community group chat called Weenies.
I wrote that I was having a Q&A, a YouTube Q&A, and Colleen Ballinger, the 31-year-old, comments and goes, Adam, you need questions for your Q&A? Are you a virgin? To a 14, 15-year-old. And then furthermore goes on and says, what's your favorite sexual position? What's your favorite position?
And the now infamous incident where Colleen sent him a pair of lingerie while he was still a minor.
Oh my god, that makes me laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the bra, Adam?
Do you want the bra and panties? Tweet right now.
Oh my god. Yeah, Adam, let me know what you want. He's in Ireland. Hi, Adam. I love you. Okay.
The public began widely labeling Colleen a groomer as more former fans stepped up with their own accounts. For example, Becky,
where I was laying under Colleen and she was smirking down at me while thousands of people were laughing, and I was terrified that my body wasn't covered enough. I basically felt naked, so it felt incredibly sexually violating.
And Trisha, who was ready to distance herself from Colleen entirely.
I'm not going to speak on this again. I will never speak on Colleen again.
Creators Colleen had worked with, including Jeffree Star, also spoke out publicly.
That person's sick, and I've never been a fan, so I was very shocked to see all that.
The controversy became so widespread that it even reached Time magazine, a clear sign that it moved far beyond YouTube and into mainstream culture. All of this led to the breaking point that is her infamous 10-minute long ukulele apology video in 2023.
So I just wanted to say that the only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer. I'm just a loser.
Where she dismissed the allegations entirely.
All aboard the toxic gossip train. You're chugging down the tracks of misinformation. The toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station.
Only fueling the backlash even more. Colleen's ukulele apology racked up over 20 million views, not because people loved it, but because of how widely it was mocked, quickly earning the title of the worst apology video ever. Penguin Zero's reaction, which shot up to 11 million views, perfectly captured everyone's disbelief.
This is just invalidating to all of her victims. Like, she is like actually like laughing in their face with this video, I feel. It's pretty disgusting, actually.
Ludwig also weighed in, breaking down exactly how the video wasn't an apology at all, but pure deflection.
As you can tell from the chorus, the biggest part of this apology video is saying that all these accusations are overblown and that she doesn't deserve them and it's ruining her life and she feels like shit because of all of them.
Adam McIntyre also reacted, but with clear confusion.
This video is like, actually, it's hard to process because it's like, is this satire? Like, should I be taking this seriously or no? Like, is this satire?
But perhaps the most damaging response came from Joshua Evans, Colleen's own ex-husband, who took the side of the victim, stating, "You deserve better. Take your power back. This behavior was my reality anytime I spoke up and disagreed with her actions and rhetoric during 2009 to 2016. I was gaslit too. Every ounce of what you're feeling, I understand." The backlash surrounding the ukulele apology grew so massive that it even reached CBS News, one of the big three broadcast news networks in the US, and even Rolling Stone, a publication that typically celebrates cultural icons like Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Because of the video, Colleen's monthly viewership had plunged from 3.5 million to negative 3.5 million in a single month. In that same period, she also lost more than 100,000 subscribers, marking another steep drop on her channel since Adam first released his whistleblower video months earlier. By the end of 2023, Colleen had lost over 1.5 million YouTube subscribers and nearly a million Instagram followers, becoming one of the most unsubscribed creators in 2023. And it wasn't just subscribers, as mass cancellations of her tours and other events followed. At the time, Colleen had 11 remaining shows in the US, but all were cancelled. Her sponsors, including ZocDoc, a healthcare marketplace, and OneSkin, a skincare brand, both cut ties with Colleen. OneSkin stated, "We were made aware of this previously and have decided to cease the relationship completely. This behavior is appalling and we do not condone or support it in any form." With her sponsors gone, shows cancelled, and fans unsubscribing, the fallout was swift and severe. Since then, her Miranda Sings channel has remained silent for 2 years, but her Colleen Vlogs channel continues posting as if nothing had happened. In fact, she returned to uploading just 5 months after the controversy, which viewers pointed out that this sudden return within the 6-month period may have been motivated by a desire to avoid YouTube's demonetization. For context, YouTube has a demonetization policy that removes a creator's ability to earn money if they don't upload for 6 months. The system basically pressures creators to stay on the platform, making Colleen's sudden return with her fall vlog look more like another strategic move to keep the channel monetized. She stayed away as long as possible, hoping the drama would fade, and only returned when she was on the verge of being demonetized to protect her main source of income. And in this very fall vlog, she apologized again, this time without a ukulele.
"I am so sorry. I never wanted to hurt anybody, but it's clear that I did, and I feel so terrible about that."
Some viewers appreciated this, calling it the apology people actually needed, but for others, especially Adam, the first whistleblower, felt it was purely performative.
Adam got an apology privately. That is not true. I have not heard from Colleen Ballinger at all. I do not have her blocked on any social media. She does not have me blocked on any social media. My emails are public. Everything is public. I have not heard anything. So this is incredibly performative. Not that I get an apology in this anyway.
Many also pointed out the moment she said things I've been accused of.
I was being accused of some pretty awful things, and I just was mad.
They knew Colleen hadn't changed, as she wasn't accused because it's been proven. And for some, the fact that her quote apology wasn't even separate from a regular vlog.
Yeah, let's get started with the day and see what happens, I guess. I honestly do not know how to transition from this conversation into a vlog, but let's try.
Made it clear she still didn't understand how to apologize. And now, after burying all of that for 2 years, she suddenly apologized for the 3rd time, now on Tea Time with Raven and Miranda, surprising everyone. Many viewers questioned why Raven Simone, a former Disney child star whom many people look up to, would give Colleen a platform at all, with some calling the decision sick. Just 12 minutes into the podcast, Colleen rolled out her first excuse. Her audience wasn't supposed to be kids, and that Netflix was to blame.
Even when I did my Netflix show, that was a discussion that we had constantly, because they were like, you know, they were noticing, because they came to a couple of my live shows, the people involved, and they're like, oh, there's a lot of teens here. So let's put this on the kids app. And I was like, whoa, this is not a kids show. Like, I do not want this on the kids app. That would be inappropriate. Like, this is 100% not for children. And it was like but they really wanted it there because they saw a younger audience.
But a simple scroll through her old videos shows that kids had already been a major part of her content long before Netflix entered the picture in 2017. In fact, one of her earliest videos featuring children even frames her content as being for kids. Early viewers praised her for putting an inspiration into those children, comments that, in hindsight, aged poorly. She also invited young influencers and even regular kids onto her channel, making her claim that the show was never meant for kids fall apart almost immediately.
They were like, we want the younger audience to be able to see this. And I was like, that's fine, but like they need their parents' approval because this is not a kid show and this isn't a kid character. So I never set out for it to be for kids.
Even Adam reacted with absolute cringe.
Colleen
and despite
doesn't
knowing
want
she had a
kids
very large
watching
young
her.
audience,
She
even
wants to
earning
be
a
talking
Nickelodeon
to them and speaking inappropriately to them.
And despite knowing she had a very large young audience, even earning a Nickelodeon Teen Choice Award in 2015, Colleen continued leaning into a kid-friendly persona while still posting mature, innuendo-filled content. She even doubled down in the podcast saying the following.
I didn't adjust my comedy very much because I was like, well, they found me doing this, so this is what they like and this is what I like, so I'm gonna keep doing the comedy they like. And I did adjust it a little bit.
Because for Colleen, all she was doing was making people happy.
I think it all boils down to me just really wanting to make them the people-pleasing tendency of like, I want to do this because this will make they're begging me to
you wanted them to love you.
I wanted them to love me.
And this meant going to extreme lengths, like being unusually active in group chats with her fans. To her, this level of access was what set her apart from other artists.
The difference between me and a mainstream celebrity, at least in the beginning, was that I was attainable and look, she'll talk to us. She'll interact with us.
But that was exactly the problem. She was building parasocial relationships, which are one-sided relationships in which a person develops a strong sense of connection, intimacy, or familiarity with someone they don't know, most often celebrities or media personalities. And while she claimed she hadn't realized these bonds were forming,
I didn't think about that when I was interacting with my fans, I didn't think about a power dynamic that could have been there. I didn't think about a parasocial relationship.
The lack of awareness does not excuse the fact that she was an adult woman who was constantly messaging, replying, joking, and inserting herself into private conversations with fans who were minors.
That was not my responsibility in that time. I was trying to be silly like them and be their friend.
Yet, she lied and claimed she was rarely there, insisting the teenagers started the inappropriate conversations and that she simply jumped in.
And it was rare that I was in there talking to them. I should have been thinking about that, and I should have removed myself from that chat immediately when they were joking about things that were inappropriate. I shouldn't have ever participated in those conversations.
In reality, leaked screenshots show how she would abruptly shift conversations, even derailing a normal chat between her fans so she could jump in self-pity. And it wasn't just oversharing. The chats contained disturbing questions that no adult should ever ask a child, like, what's your favorite sex position, and are you a virgin? She even trauma dumped details about her divorce. How the actual fuck I would have time to cheat when I was creating, writing, executive producing, and starring in my own Netflix show while posting 4 videos a week, and also talking to my partner for hours every single night after working 16 hours just to be yelled at and told I was a piece of shit. For some fans like Adam, the emotional entanglement went so far that he found himself up at 4 AM trying to calm her down. All of this inappropriate behavior is something she denied again.
Grooming and in any way harming
children,
yeah, is the opposite of something or someone I am or ever would want to be.
But fellow YouTubers have it put plainly.
She was in regular group chats making them inappropriate. She was a grown woman speaking to her underage fans in very bizarre ways, sending out things that she shouldn't have sent out.
She was grooming, and what many people don't know is that it wasn't just Colleen herself. Corey DeSoto, Colleen's best friend and frequent collaborator, also ran a group chat called Corey's Clit, where explicit pornographic videos were shared with minors who were also part of Colleen's fanbase.
Corey, in a group chat with minors, by the way, called Corey's Clit, actively partaking in talking about literal sex videos with them.
The fact that these group chats with minors were literally named the Weenies and Corey's Clit already says enough about the real Colleen. Despite insisting that Miranda Sings is a separate character,
The joke was that Miranda doesn't know that this is inappropriate.
A convenient excuse for some of the absurd and disturbing behavior she performs in videos and even live shows.
Do you want a cheese ball?
I'd love one. I can't believe I'm reaching in there right now.
Viewers quickly criticized her for hiding behind the Miranda persona, saying she even says Miranda to try to make it seem like it wasn't her, and Miranda wasn't aware, but you were, Colleen. You were fully aware. The conversations revealed the truth that she really is just like that. She is Colleen, an adult who continuously ignores boundaries in her relentless attempt to make people happy, who truly believes that good intentions excuse harmful actions.
My intention was being decided for me by people talking about it. My intention wasn't to hurt or do anything negative ever. Well, everyone knows that I'm a safe person and I don't mean anything negative by this, because even though I know that I never wanted to hurt anyone and my intentions and my desires were nothing negative in my interactions with these people.
Throughout the podcast, Colleen repeats over and over that she didn't mean for anything to be inappropriate, and that her intent matters more than the impact, like when addressing the yoga challenge incident. Back in 2019, during one of her shows, Colleen called on Becky, a 17-year-old girl wearing a dress, to participate in a yoga challenge where Colleen stretched Becky's legs and fully exposed her to the audience. Yet looking back, Colleen insisted she didn't know any better.
I never knew that that was something that would make someone feel uncomfortable and trigger.
By explaining her innocent intentions, Colleen seemed to suggest Becky should simply understand. But for Becky, the experience felt deliberate.
Now, as soon as I stood up from the audience, I saw Colleen's eyes widen because she realized I was not wearing pants. So we get to the point in the yoga challenge where I am laying down and Colleen is spreading my legs basically as far as she can. That is the moment I will never forget, where I was laying under Colleen and she was smirking down at me while thousands of people were laughing, and I was terrified that my body wasn't covered enough. I basically felt naked, so it felt incredibly sexually violating.
And viewers were concerned, pointing out that Colleen had exposed Becky intentionally or unintentionally to other pedos. Becky's account is publicly available on YouTube, yet Colleen still refused to apologize and merely defended her intention.
And I genuinely never thought of it as a sexual or inappropriate thing. To me, the joke was that the legs were open to do the pose. The fart sound effect came on screen, so it was like...
Just as she did in the laundry incident. Back when Adam was just 13 years old, Colleen actually mailed a lingerie set to his home address.
This was what I was sent. I don't even know, sorry, I don't know which way this goes.
Which is widely inappropriate for any grown woman or man to do this to minors. But for Colleen, it was still just a joke.
It just became an inside joke with the fandom, and everyone was like telling me to send it, and he kept asking for it. It was like months of this until finally I did, and it was very public and as a joke.
She called the situation idiotic.
Yeah, what an idiot. Is how I feel about it now.
And smiling through it, suggesting there was no remorse, and implying she only went along with it because Adam supposedly insisted.
There was one fan in particular who kept asking us to send it.
But looking back at the footage, it becomes clear that the idea to send the lingerie came from Colleen herself.
Oh my god, that makes me laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the bra, Adam?
Do you want the bra and panties?
Viewers were quick to spot Colleen's lie, saying, "Can't believe she's claiming accountability while knowingly lying." Adam has already disproved this by showing the full live, and not the edited version she put out after the initial scandal. She continued to lie in the podcast that she hesitated.
Obviously, you can tell in the live, I'm hesitant about it, because there is a little bit of brains in there somewhere. That was maybe not.
And then she reiterated what she says her intention was, as if stating it somehow excuses the behavior.
I feel terrible and I'm so sorry, because that was not my intention with that. I thought it was a silly inside joke with the whole fandom. It was all very public, and I thought it was a silly thing, and it was so stupid.
As one YouTuber criticized,
"I don't need to focus on your intentions because you did inappropriate things multiple times that the average human being knows from a base-setting human being level is wrong and inappropriate."
And it's not just the intention, it's the act itself. Normal 30-year-olds are not seeking friendships with children, making them promises, sending them things, and they are certainly not asking a child to reach into their pants. Yet this is exactly what happened to a kid named James during one of Colleen's live shows.
Do you want a cheese ball?
I'd love one. I can't believe I'm reaching in there right now.
In the footage, it's clear that the character Miranda knew what she was doing, and even the child sensed something was wrong. What the F? Why did Miranda let him reach in her front? That's weird and predatory. But on the podcast, Colleen talked about Miranda as if she were someone else entirely, implying she had no control over her own character and using that to deflect responsibility.
A lot of the joke with Miranda was that I would say and do things that were inappropriate or had some sort of sexual innuendo to them or something like that, and it went over the character's head. Like, Miranda was not aware that she was saying something that could be taken the wrong way. Take a cheese ball from the top of the bag and eat it. It was supposed to be like she doesn't realize how inappropriate this looks.
Once again, she shifted blame rather than acknowledge what she had done.
Show that I'm doing with adults that are consenting and know that this is the joke, that Miranda doesn't understand that this could look bad.
And this unsettling behavior wasn't just limited to live shows. Even her Twitter history showed an alarming number of posts using the word corn. Across platforms, Colleen consistently produced sexualized content despite knowing many in her audience were minors, begging the question, how is she a child entertainer? And to make things worse, she was already a mom while doing all of these inappropriate actions. Yet after everything, Colleen expressed more regret over her ukulele apology than over any of the children who were put in uncomfortable, unsafe, and humiliating situations because of her choices.
Obviously didn't handle the situation the way that I should have. It's really embarrassing. I wish that I could handle it a lot differently than I did.
When you say that, are you talking about like the apology
Talking
videos?
about a musical instrument.
Yes, she shouldn't have done the ukulele apology, but more importantly, she shouldn't have done any of the things that harmed these kids in the first place. In the podcast, Colleen herself pointed out, almost amused, that she never actually apologized in that video.
Like, and people keep saying it's an apology song. I didn't apologize in that thing.
You did not.
I did not.
You know what?
There
You are
was
correct.
no
You did not
sorry in
apologize.
that.
And it was only after Raven repeatedly insisted that people needed an apology that Colleen finally offered one.
I think people want an apology. I think people want for you to acknowledge the things that happened on stage. I hope that you give that to them.
I agree with you. I think that they do want an apology, and I am sorry.
Yet even then, her sorry still wasn't directed at the people she harmed. As one viewer put it, the fact she kept saying my audience or supporters deserved an apology, not the actual people she harmed, speaks loud and clear that she still doesn't think she did anything wrong. She kept insisting she felt horrible.
What does regret feel like?
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
While smiling through the entire confession, which suggested the opposite. And worst of all,
I wanted to fix it so bad, and there was no fixing it. There was nothing I could do to fix it.
she claimed there was nothing she could have done, when in reality, she could have apologized personally to the people she hurt long before, or at the very least, as Adam put it,
let it out.
What does regret feel like?
Oh, it's horrible.
How can you regret something that you still are standing by? It's still on your channel.
That was so awful.
Deleting it would be a start.
Address anything that I wanted to address. Not only did I not, dispute the lies that I wanted to dispute, and I just made things.
You actually, in it, literally were confirming what we were saying.
And after all the controversy, you'd expect growth. However, when asked how she changed, she said the following.
Some of these changes you've gone through since the height of the controversy.
Well, I'm much more anxious now. And I've been through so much therapy.
Fans immediately recognized the pattern. I love how when she asked how she's changed, she goes to I'm much more anxious now, instead of how she's made changes to become a better person, forever a victim. Towards the end of the podcast, Colleen revealed that her only real remorse seemed to be that everything she had built was slowly being taken away from her, not the harm she had caused.
From me, everything that I'd been working on and worked for decades, was gone. Struck me was the who am I without this validation from these people.
Adam's reaction summed up exactly how hollow that sounded.
What was me thing at all? But there's, with everything that happened, I was about to do a Broadway show, another Broadway show, and I was...
Oh my god! Also, sorry, speaking of Broadway, no mention of Trisha, no mention of sending Trisha's fucking nudes around, no mention of having watch parties of Trisha, all confirmed, by the way.
Even more striking, the podcast completely sidestepped the Trisha Paytas incident, in which Colleen allegedly sent her nude photos to an underage fan and held viewing parties to make fun of her. Trisha explained on YouTube that she felt deeply hurt about what Colleen did, especially since Trisha had previously collaborated with Colleen on podcasts.
I do not condone unsolicited nudes, sending unsolicited nudes to anyone of anybody. But it never feels good to have someone just like make fun of your naked body. It's just a really vulnerable thing.
Yet when Trisha confronted her, Colleen repeated the same pattern of deflection.
I did ask her about these a couple weeks ago before there was the proof, so to speak, right? And she assured me that she had never sent photos of me.
As a result, Trisha ended their podcast after just 3 episodes, dealing a blow to Colleen's collaborative project. This incident was a major part of the Colleen controversy, but the hosts glossed over it.
That's a huge element of the whole thing that they didn't even touch on. Like, it was just another level of like creepy, awful, disgusting. And the interviewers were like, we don't even need to bring that up. We'll just forget that huge element of the story. We don't need to do research. But, you know, that's so Raven.
Colleen also was at fault as her failure to fully acknowledge the scope of her actions, especially the Trisha Paytas situation, shows that she remains stuck. So the podcast ended without telling the full story, and most importantly, without a direct apology to any of the fans she had harmed, despite being promoted as an apology video. Initially, it was uploaded under the title Exclusive Colleen Ballinger's Actual Apology Video, but was later changed to Colleen Ballinger Tells Her Side, with viewers pointing out the host likely realized that Colleen still hadn't actually apologized. And with that, Colleen is once again the focus of online discussion, this time for a podcast apology widely seen as worse than her previous ukulele apology, especially in the context of her broader pattern of controversies. For many viewers, Colleen just practically took away the title of the worst apology ever from herself. Many were baffled as to why she would bring the controversy up again, effectively forcing victims who had already spent 2 years processing it to relive the experience.
Why trigger them again? The victims, you know, you're bringing it all back up. Yeah, just leave it alone. Yeah, stay gone.
Some, concerned that Colleen still hadn't figured out how to apologize, even went as far as to spoon-feed her instructions.
Because if she had genuinely taken accountability, if she was genuinely sorry, she would get on camera, not in a podcast, but on camera for 5 minutes, said the victims' names, apologized to them directly, and ended the video there. So no, I don't think this is going to help Colleen Ballinger. If anything, this is just going to light another fire about how terrible she truly is.
And it wasn't just Colleen facing backlash. Raven caught heat too, with one commenter saying, "Raven, you were exposed to inappropriate behavior from adults as a child, and you have spoken about it multiple times. Delete this slop." Additionally, the timing of the podcast comeback doesn't make much sense on its own. Maybe Raven needed the boost since her podcast episodes rarely reach 6-digit viewership, or maybe Colleen was testing the waters for Miranda Singh's revival. After all, around the same time the podcast aired, she casually referenced Miranda in her Colleen vlogs.
But you know what? I feel like that's very on brand for Miranda. That like all the costumes and memorabilia from the show are like rat infested and covered in rat poo. I feel like that makes sense.
Financially, she may have a reason to try because as of 2025, her Miranda Singh's channel has dropped by nearly 500,000 subscribers, and without new content, she has lost up to $38,000 in monthly ad revenue. Her Fanjoy merch page has also been removed, and her official website is essentially abandoned as well. She currently has no collaborations, no visible sponsors, and no tours. In fact, the only collaboration she still has is with her sister on Patreon. Similarly, her Colleen Vlogs channel has fallen by about 560,000 subscribers from its peak, now earning roughly $2,800 a month, an enormous fraction of what Miranda Singh's achieved, and pulling barely 50,000 views per video. Colleen's highest recent view count is around 54,000, and that's only when her kids are featured. With all of that, Colleen's appearance on Raven's podcast seems like an attempt to put her name back into circulation. Even if the video lives on Raven's channel and she gets the views, Colleen still benefits from the renewed attention as her name trends again, which in fact it did as Google Trends confirmed it. From a traffic and engagement standpoint, this surge effectively boosts her visibility and monetization opportunities. As one viewer pointed out, there's a time where her views will significantly fluctuate, hence why why it's too risky for her to stay completely silent, making her podcast appearance feel less like a genuine conversation and more like a calculated attempt to re-enter the spotlight or simply earn revenues even temporarily. This is why viewers keep on insisting everyone needs to stop watching her full stop. She should not be anywhere on the internet. For many, cutting off engagement and therefore income is the only consequence that might force Colleen to acknowledge the harm she had caused. At the height of the controversy, viewers already urged her to delete all Miranda accounts and channels, even calling for Netflix to remove her specials and Raven's podcast to only field those demands again. So whether this podcast was a soft reboot or just another misstep, one thing hasn't changed. The internet, and especially the victims, are still asking the same question. When will Colleen Ballinger actually take responsibility? If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy these next ones as well, and don't forget to subscribe.